Hello, everybody from Chicago. Hello, everybody. Welcome. John here from Windy City Origami. 皆さん、こんばんは。Windy City Origami の John です。今日は、lion を進みます。We're going to finish folding the lion. So it doesn't look much like a lion right now, but by the end of this, it's going to look like a very, very awesome lion. So, we are going to jump right back into it. For those of you who were with us on Saturday, we folded all the way up until step 25, and that's where we're going to be continuing here today. So everybody should have their paper looking like this. And let me just zoom in here on step 26 is where we are, okay? All right, so in step 26, we are folding the trapped layers along their hinge, all right? So there is a hinge up here, up at the very corner, okay? And what we're going to do is fold this down, and immediately I'm looking for some reference lines. And the only reference line that I'm seeing at the moment here is this intersection right here, which, as you can see in the camera, there's a line kind of coming down the paper here, and then right where that line hits the edge, that's kind of a pivotal point for this fold. So what it says is fold the trapped layers. It's trapped underneath this little lip on the left. Okay, so what we're going to do is fold that over and use that point here as a pivot. Again, you've got that line coming down. Use that as a pivot point and fold it down. And in fact, you'll find that it actually opens up all the way. So the paper there, it opens up all the way when you fold this. Fold it all the way over and come all the way up and get your finger all the way on the inside to kind of press that down so that it's going all the way. And the paper might want to shift a little bit, and that's normal. Just work with the paper. Try not to create any new folds per se. Okay, so that's step 26. Step number 27 is unfold to step 26. So we're just undoing what we just did, okay? So go back up with that same flap. Okay, now we've got a pre-crease there for that, okay? Now we're going to move on to step number 28. And step 28 is closed sink the trapped layer only. All right, so what is the trapped layer? Well, if we take a look at it, we have on the inside here, if you look on the top, so this line is going all the way up to here, all the way down to here, okay? So this whole section here is going to be pushed in and go the other way, okay? So close sink the trapped layer only, okay? So there's really only one trapped layer, which is this trapped layer. So this is really just a closed sink. But essentially what you're going to do is open it up like this and push it down, and the paper is going to just go for it. Just push it down all the way. That corner is going to go the opposite direction, okay? And then that is going to then fold back up. So it helps if you turn it upside down. You can see now this whole thing here has to become a mountain fold. So I'm going to get that mountain fold started here from turning it upside down. And there we go. Now I've completed the mountain fold, all directions. I'm going to come back up and take a look at it. And it doesn't look very good, right? Because this here is still a fold in the other direction. So I'm going to fold that back down right now. And now you can see that whole layer just got reversed. Kind of like a reverse fold that's stuck. You can't really get the paper all the way going through. So anyway, that's step 28. We'll check, just confirm in step 29. Ours looks the same. So there's a little bit of a rotate going on here. And as you can see, this bottom piece here is really, that's going to be your horizontal. Also, you have a line here that's showing a horizontal. I'm not sure why the diagrams are missing that little sliver up there, but there is a small slot up there that is visible as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is a squash and a tuck, and as you can see here, this is going behind. So that's the tuck, and the squash is getting this. So basically, it's going to pivot. You're going to take this. This is going to become a mountain fold. And as you do that, this whole layer kind of rotates down, and this is going to go behind, okay? So it's kind of like a swivel. You can see it's up here, and it swivels behind like that. Okay, so that you just brought down what I believe is the mane of the tiger, of the lion, excuse me. So now 29, now we're going to go to step 30, which is swing up. Okay, so there's a little white arrow here, which means there's a pocket in there, and we're going to have to open that up and to be able to pivot that all the way up. Now we've got a nice, really pretty diamond shape up here. Okay, so now we're on step 31. Rabbit ear. Okay, for anyone that's not familiar with a rabbit ear, you get these started here, and then along the edge as well. So these are all valley folds. So you get the valley fold started there, you get the valley fold started here. Now it looks like there's a new fold here that's taking place. So to know where this is going to end up, if you pinch it like this, it's going to come up and become 3D. But now the question is, where does it go down? And I believe it's going to go all the way down like that. But we can go forward to the next step to confirm, and indeed it is. So just flatten it out so this whole layer in the front is flat. Okay? Now next step is to fold this directly up. So there's a little tip on here. I'm going to fold that all the way up to the top. There's a little corner in here. I'm going to fold it up to that corner and go ahead and press it down, that valley fold. Okay, so step number 33 is to squash. So we are going to squash fold this. Now the question is which direction. So to find out, so you can either squash from the right side or the left side. Now I'm willing to bet it's the left side here. So you put your finger inside here. There's a little opening. You put it in, and then you squash it down so it comes forward. But let's just double check. I'm pretty sure that foot is going over to the left, and indeed it is. So you're going to make this little sliver here perpendicular to this right here. So just use your best judgment with your eye to get that perpendicular, that 90-degree angle in there, just like that. Let me zoom in a little bit so everybody can see a little bit better. All right, hold on a second here. There we go. All right, so now your back leg should look like this, and then you're doing a simple mountain fold behind. Folding that behind just like so. Now double check your perpendicular line. Mine's not exactly perpendicular. I'm just going to shift it a little tiny bit. And 35. And bear in mind, we're going to have to repeat all this on the other side, guys. So we're going to fold this up. This looks like an angle bisector. So we're just going to fold it directly up. It's a pretty straightforward move right there. And then 36, we're taking the top layer only and folding that over, an angle bisector here. So fold that over like that, okay? And then 37, repeating steps 24 through 36. Here we are, guys. I knew this was coming. So we have to do all of this on the other side. So let's back up, we'll go all the way up to 24. So if you remember this one, this was a tricky one from last Saturday. We'll turn it over. We've got this triangle here, and all we're doing is opening it up and popping it out. Oops, sorry about that. Opening it up and popping it out and over. And it's going to come back down. So now, sometimes it's tricky to know, okay, well, how is it coming back down? So that's where you can fast forward to the next step just to take a look at what it's supposed to end up like. And as you can see, this is going to be facing now the other way, like this. And this is going to come down, so we have to figure out the orientation of this flap. So if something doesn't go right, it always helps to just kind of go back quickly to get your grounds again. So let's take a look at this and figure out exactly what we need to do. And before we do this, I'm just going to double check my step 24 and make sure it looks the same. So I've got this little chest piece coming out here. Kind of looks like a chest area, and it's coming down. Everything looks the same here. So except for this piece right here, which is coming down. And all you're doing is opening up the back leg. So it looks like there's a valley fold. It's been a while since I've done this one, so just it takes a little refresher on my side. But there's a little valley fold here, which it looks like that kind of is opening up. Okay, so I'm sorry, everybody. All you're doing is just rotating this out like this, and then this is then coming down. All right, so I had that a little bit incorrect. So hopefully didn't throw you guys off. But essentially we've got this step here, and all you're doing is doing a valley fold over like this, so it's already opening on the inside right here. And then from there, the whole paper is going to come down like this. So to figure out the correct angle of how this is coming down, let's go ahead to step number 25. Okay, so step 25 kind of shows the squash in progress. So this is coming all the way up to this corner here. Okay, so what you can do is kind of get that corner started, and then that will actually set the bearings for the rest of it. And as you can see, it lines up directly with this corner in the back. Okay, so it's going to line up with the reverse side. All right, so now we can go a little bit quickly because the rest is relatively easy to get the rest of these done. So we just did these earlier, so we're just repeating the same thing. This is going to fold down, and remember there's a pivot point right here. So and that pivot point doesn't even matter because the paper opens up, if you recall, on the inside. Opens up entirely. Come all the way down. Go ahead and crease, get the crease going all the way through the layers on the bottom. Okay. And then all we're doing is unfolding, undoing that, coming back. Now if you remember, that's setting us up for a sink fold. So closed sink the trapped layer only, so all you're doing is just reversing direction on this. So again, I'm going to come up here, push it down, push it through. And then on the opposite side, all I'm doing is changing the direction here. So this is going to be a mountain fold all the way to the corner, mountain fold here all the way to the corner, and then this is going to come back down again. Okay, just like that. And now in step 29, we have the squash and tuck, which I think is kind of more of a swivel. So this is going to be a mountain fold, and then as you create that mountain fold, the one behind it goes behind, just like so. And step 30, we are now swinging this up. Okay, and opening this up to allow it to pass by. Okay, and now step 31 is we're going to start working on the back leg. So again, the same, it's so much easier once you've done it once, isn't it? Fold that down, just like you did before. And then if you recall, we're doing the same thing, we're folding this up and it's easy to make this mistake. So this head, you want to hold it like this. So don't fold it up to here. You're folding it up to here in the back. Okay. Fold that in directly in half. Unfold it. Open it up. Get the squash going. Get the squash fold, lie it flat, and then we're going to fold it behind. And that one was more square, more perpendicular. So I'm going to go back to the other one really quick and just redo that squash fold and just bring it up a little tiny bit because that's bothering me a little bit. It's close enough. All right, so now that we've done the foot, we are all caught up except for the tail portion here. So we just did the other part here, so all we're going to do is fold this up. So that's the one thing we did not do yet. Fold that one up just like that. And then the top of the head as well. This is the one last thing. Getting this to go over on the left. So now we have perfect symmetry on both sides. Okay. So now we are in step number 38. So let's hold our paper over like this so we match. Okay. And we're unsync, squashing in a gusset. Now that does not make any sense. So let's fast forward here and see what we're looking at. Okay, so unsync, squashing in a gusset. And if you take a look, the paper is kind of widening. It widens out. So it's this top part here. So as you can see, the bottom is already all intact. Nothing there changes. It's just this top part. So how far then on the top do we need to go? Well, you can take a look at the mane here. If you look in the diagram, there's a trapezoid that gets created. You can see that? Okay, so that trapezoid is the shape that we're going to be looking for when we pull this up. So what we're going to do is start kind of pulling it up, and we're going to go all the way, as far as we can. So on the inside, there's a big thick piece in there. Leave that alone. Okay, it's just the top part. Okay, leave that part in there the same, and try just going all the way. I think that's the idea here. And now on the back here, this is the sink that, or the squashing in a gusset. I think that's what they're talking about here. Kind of hard to illustrate, but as you can see, when I open it up, it wants to. So this piece, as I try to fold it flat, it's wanting to kind of squash on the inside there. So that's the idea. So you can look on the inside here, kind of push the paper in, and all you want to do is just create a line that goes directly up. So keep this, these are your feet. So those are going to be flat. And the orientation here is that this main piece is going to be going perpendicular to the floor. Okay, so from this point, going straight up. So you look at, and you can kind of shift. See how this is going up and down? Like I can make it really narrow. I can make it. Now that's not, if I hold it just like this, that's not perfectly straight up. What we want is to be parallel to, another good reference is this paper here, is it has to be parallel. So I'm going to move it to the parallel spot, and I'm going to pinch it down on the top. Okay, so I've just locked that paper in place. Now if I push here, what it should be doing on the inside is kind of making the paper go to the right spot. So that's a technique you can use. Lock that down to get it in the right spot there. And so now it's parallel to this here. All right, and now on this one, fold under along the upper layer edge. Repeat behind. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. So fold under along the upper layer edge. So looks like just a simple mountain fold. So we'll start doing it, and we'll see what this upper layer edge means here in a second. So get the mountain fold in place first. Just like that, and apply some pressure. And if we look at step 39, we might as well start it over there as well. And do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Now let's just take a look and see if it's as simple as that, as it was described there. So the part that's now I'm not completely understanding to the diagrams right now is this fold under along the upper layer edge. So that English is a little bit strange to me, but I believe it's just a straightforward mountain fold. All right. So now if we move on to step number 40, we can, or step 39 rather, we can confirm that everything looks like it should. And as you can see, there's this. When we mountain fold this back, it created now an extra triangle there, and it's showing up in the diagrams. So we know that we did everything correctly. So we'll hold it just like this, and now this top part here is just making a pre-crease, and all you're doing is doing an angle bisector. So it's going to create along this brown edge here. You're going to go ahead and fold it down, and then unfold it. So all that's doing is creating a pre-crease. And now in step 40, we're doing a swivel, and we are repeating behind. So let's figure out what this means by looking ahead a step. So what you're doing is creating the ears. So this is an interesting, very interesting fold here. It's hard to understand kind of what's happening, but this is creating the ears, which is a very important part of the model, believe it or not, to make it look nice. So to do this, sometimes it helps, depending on the size of your paper, to have a small tool. I have a little tool like this, and I use this to kind of crease things down. And you could have a screwdriver, you could have any device, even a toothpick would work. But if you have a device like this, it kind of helps in these situations where the paper gets really small. So let me zoom in. So what's happening here is that this paper, if you can grab the edge up a little bit, all you're doing is folding this down, and at the same time you have to get the pivot spot correctly. So we don't want to go too far, maybe about here. So this is pivoting. It's hard to show here, but this is going to go down like this, and this bottom part is going to fold over to the, so as you take a look here, there's going to be a little bit of white showing. You can see just like that. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So get your tweezers or your tool inside of there. Just fold it up a little tiny bit. Something like that. Okay, so it looks more or less the same on each side. Okay, and then what we're going to do is a reverse fold just through that line, that pre-creased line that we made before. So if you open it up on the edge here, you can reverse fold that inside and then close it up just like that. Okay, so in step 42, we're doing an angle bisector, just folding everything over to the right side. Just like this. Okay, just like that, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, because we all know that's coming. Okay, zoom out just a little bit. Okay, so now what we're doing is a swivel fold. We'll take a look at where it's going. So as you can see here, we are opening it up on the inside here. As you can see, we're opening it up and we're swiveling it over to the left. Now we have to figure out to what degree, how far left is this paper going. So how do we figure that out? Well, as you can see, there's a little, Okay, my apologies, guys. It's a little bit hard to see in here. So there's a little white triangle in here. You can see that little white triangle? Should look like that. That's the point where the swivel is going to pivot from, okay? So watch, as I do this swivel, it's going to stop right there. Okay, that's the stop point for the swivel. So then go ahead and flatten it down, and it actually end up being parallel with the back of the mane here. Okay? And then last, hinge through the inside. Okay, so this back piece here is going to hinge like this, and it's going to go down. You're going to do mountain fold. This whole thing is going to go mountain fold behind and go inside of the model. It's going to go all the way up too. Okay, see how that mountain folds away inside of the model? Okay, so now it should be completely gone. And now we fold down. This piece right here, we fold it down. Now they don't show you here where you fold it down, so if we zoom ahead here, as you can see, it's just going straight down to create this is going to be right here, a 90-degree angle. And we can do that on the other side too. I mean, might as well right now, we can match it up directly. Okay, so there, that's done. Now we're almost caught up on the other side since we already started doing things on the other side. But let's finish that up. So right now we are on step 45, and it says repeat behind from step 42. So step 42, we already did the angle bisector. It's just the swivel that's missing on the other side. So we'll go ahead and open this up and swivel it over. And again, look for that reference. There's a little point down there that you're going to go off of. And then that's going to be parallel to this line, the back of the main. And we're going to go ahead and fold that down, just like that. And then what's going to happen is that this piece here is going to go mount and fold behind, okay, just as we did before. Okay, I haven't been so good with keeping mine on the camera here, but hopefully everybody got through that. Okay, so now we should be on step number 46. So if I look at this side, this looks a little bit more accurate than my other side. As you can see, some of the lines aren't lining up, so I can just pivot the paper a little bit more. There we go. I corrected. This other side looks a little bit cleaner now. Just like that. Okay. So now it's nice and clean on both sides. And we are on step 46. And step 46 is a tuck inside move. Okay. So what we're going to do is get this pre-crease going. So there's a valley fold. As you can see, it's going to go something like this. Come up, and that's going to tuck inside. So the question is, where does it then tuck inside? Well, this is if you look in the diagram, it's tucking behind this bottom layer here. Okay, so you're going to open it up and tuck it inside all the way. I mean, like that. Okay. And then tucking behind on the nose. So to do that, we're going to tuck behind. Now it helps to look ahead to see where this is going, so it creates a nice little nose on our lion. So you can see, you can kind of create it to how you think a lion should look. So that mine's got a big snout. In the diagrams there, it's a little bit of a smaller snout. So you can kind of create it, how to taste, however you think a lion's snout should look. I like that right there. Something like that. Okay, so that's a tuck behind. And now we're going to start working on the legs, okay? So we just went from there to 47, and now we're on step 48. So step 48 is crimp the tail downward. Okay, so to do that, the mountain is an existing hinge, and the valley lines up with the edge above it. So the valley fold here, if we take a look, is going to be on the tail. Okay, so let's just look ahead here very briefly. So 47, we have to figure out where we're landing, okay? So as you can see in the diagram here, let me zoom out, in the camera. I am all over the place today. Okay, in the camera, as you can see, my tail is pointing up. We want the tail to be completely parallel and in line with the back. Okay, so to do that, we're on the inside of the model, behind the legs. We are creating this crimp fold. Okay, so this is going to be, if you open it up, this is going to be a mountain fold here, and it's going to go inside like this, and then it's going to lock in. So this is going to be a valley fold here, and a mountain fold here. So that's going to fold in like that. Okay, same thing on the other side. So get that going in. So then what's going to happen is this whole thing goes in like this. Okay, and that's what's being illustrated, as you can see. Okay, so the whole thing's pivoting like this. And now when you flatten it out, it should hopefully be parallel. And mine is not, so I'm going to have to shift it just a little bit. So you're going to have to shift yours too. So don't go quite as far. And the real question is, how far do you go? Well, you want to go so that it's parallel. Paper doesn't really want to lie flat. So you just kind of force it. All that stuff's going to be hidden inside anyway. Okay, so now that it's nice and parallel like that, we can continue to move on. Okay, so that's step 48. That was a tough one to show. I hope everybody is keeping up with me. 49, mountain fold through the middle. Okay, so we've got this piece in the back here, and what we're going to do is just fold it straight forward. Okay, and it's going to go through the front of the leg. The whole leg actually experiences a mountain fold. So it's going to create a very large and thick front leg area. And you want to, if you lie it down, you can kind of go to the spot where this is going to be parallel with the bottom foot. That's really where you want this to be ending up. So it doesn't make for huge feet. It's relatively small front feet. Okay, so hopefully you guys are coming along on yours. This is a test of patience today. At least it is for me. I'm not sure why. Okay, so I'm trying to match it up so they look the same on both sides. And get those legs to come out just like so, okay? So that's the mountain fold, and now shape the hind legs and mane, okay? So now we're on the final steps, okay? So we'll turn it over. These legs, we're gonna thin them out just by doing a simple mountain fold. So mountain fold that behind. Same thing over here. You want to get them to match. All right, so get those mountain folds in there for the back legs. And then the mane, the front part in the mane, this is just a very simple mountain fold, just shaping. I don't know why it's called shaping. This is a straightforward mountain fold. But the shaping, we'll do some pleats on the main that will make it stand out. So step 51 is reverse fold to change color. Okay, so we'll take a look at the last two steps here. And so if you try doing an outside reverse fold, it does not change the color. So what you have to do is come on the inside, find the middle layer, and then come all the way back. So it's going to pivot at the base of the tail, the very bottom, and you're going to come up and just change the color. Just like that. Okay, see how the color got changed? Just like that. Okay, and then you can take a look at the front feet and just make sure those are lining up. Now, as you can see, this is not exactly parallel with this. So you may want to adjust that depending. It's a tough one, I think, to kind of make a judgment about. I mean, do you adjust the front legs or do you adjust the back legs? That's always the question with these models. So, when you look at it, how do you want to do it? You want to bring the front feet up, or do you want to bring the back feet, swivel them you want to swivel the front feet counterclockwise, or do you want to swivel the back feet counterclockwise? It almost looks like you want to swivel all of them counterclockwise. The feet are kind of pointing down. So you can play with that. You might have to undo a couple folds to get the back feet to come out, since you did a mountain fold already. But the main thing is that your model should be able to stand up. So if it stands up, then all is good. And then we can start doing some of the final touches. So let's work on those right now. This is very easy. It's going to make your model look very nice. So the original diagram for this, I'm just going to jump over to it here really quickly so you can see. But we have let me throw it up here if I can find it. The original picture has a very beautiful mane on it, and that's really what we want to mimic, because it's so beautifully done, I think. Let's see if I can open this up here as well. So bear with me here. I'm just going to pull up this image. Okay, so here is our line, and I just took up the whole screen. Let me make this a little bit smaller. There we go. We'll move this over, take this up over here. Okay, so if we take a look at our line, the mane, you can see the mane, how beautiful that is. So that's what we're going to mimic here. Whoops. We're going to attempt to mimic that style. Okay, so let's see if we can't do that. Okay. So if you take a look now, this is one artist's rendition of the mane. Okay, now you may say, well, that mane is kind of pointing downwards and to this right side. You may want your mane to go another direction, but I think the way this is done is actually quite nice. So let's start doing this back part, and this is very easy. All you have to do is do a just like little tiny pleat folds. So just do like real small ridges. So kind of pinch it firmly, and then undo it. And you can see I got a little pleat fold in there. And then do that on the next one. And sometimes it helps if you have a tool, like this tool can do this quite nicely. So you can just kind of come down, use the tool to kind of twist it and push it in place. Twist it, push it in place, and just repeat throughout. Otherwise, you can do it manually with your hands. It depends however you want to do this, but just get some lines in here. See how that looks nice? And we're going to do the same thing down here with the mane. This one might be a little bit trickier. Something like that. I'm not the greatest at it, I'll be honest with you. It takes a special type of tool, I think, to get that type of precision. But you get the idea. So we'll just go ahead and get the rest of these in here roughly. I'm probably making it worse. So this, depending on the size of yours, this may be something you want to do manually. And sometimes you just kind of roughen it, and roughing it makes it look really nice too. I mean, by roughing it, I mean just kind of crumple the paper. So a lion's mane is kind of crumpled. I actually, that looks quite terrible. Anyway, you can play around with that. That's shaping to taste. And then if you really wanted to, you could put an eye in there and embellish it that way. But other than that, that completes the lion. So let me just take these off the screen here for a moment. Let's just take that off, and we'll go ahead and remove our image here as well. And we'll just go ahead and put our lion right in the middle, and we'll look at that for a moment in appreciation. And that will stand up really nicely too, by the way. So what we can do here is take the camera down, and I can show you that. See how nicely that stands up? So I think it's a pretty model. I think it's done well. All right, so that completes today's origami tutorial, if you will. Thanks for folding along with me. Wasn't so much of an educational session. It is a tougher model. It's harder as we go along here to teach, but I'm expecting that a lot of people already kind of know what they're doing. But if at any time there are any questions, just let me know in the comments. We are live here at Windy City Origami every Saturday and Tuesday at 5 o'clock p.m. Central. And we will be folding Oriole Esteve's Lion coming up on Saturday. So please join us for that folding session. It's going to be a fun one. I will see you then. And until then, everybody have a great day. Bye-bye. Okay.